So tell us about what's going on with the DCA Wolff audio.
So what this is if you guys remember, if you go back to TL Labs, one of the early, the metronome and the tuner and all that kind of stuff, that's him.
Yes.
Okay? And so he's been doing this stuff, he's got a studio and stuff, and so he came up with this patch bay that uses all relays.
Okay.
It's not like that. It's not a patch bay like the Flock or any of these others. It's like all relays.
Straight through.
MIDI through, mic through, phantom power through, control voltage through, whatever. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's a patch bay.
Yep.
It's also set up so if you unpower it, it doesn't lose its mind. Okay. So that, and coupled with this, we've got the new automation system from Tangerine.
Okay.
All right. We've got a new equalizer.
Amazing. I've been waiting to see this.
So this is the new EQ.
Okay.
It's parametric, but it's proportional Q, so it's like the old EQs.
Yes.
And it's got, I don't use shelving, I use a wide mode, so it's real wide,
Okay.
but it rolls off, so you don't blast your D to A converters, your A to D converters.
Understood.
Same with the low frequencies.
Wonderful.
And then in the middle, this is like 3 octaves wide, and then it gets narrow as you turn it up.
Yep.
But you can lock it at 1/3 of an octave. So if you want to cut something, you find the resonance, and then you cut it. Wherever you set it, it's 1/3 octave.
That's very, very interesting
Yeah.
to see. And I know that, you're very, very well known for your proportional EQs. So if you have decided on whatever's happening here, I'm assuming it's extremely musical.
Well, the thing is a lot of times when you want to cut something, you gotta boost it all the way. But if it's proportional Q,
Yep.
and you only want to cut it 3 dB, you're cutting like this wide. So if you hit that button,
Yes.
it does this, and you can just notch it out. But you can also do the Pultec EQ thing,
With the wide.
where you cut it narrow and boost it wide, and you end up with 2 bumps.
Okay, so creating like a resonant shelf sort of
Yeah, we
thing.
call that the butt mode.
Amazing. I've been loving seeing this console, and I was just talking to him about Ken putting together his console out in Chicago and watching that whole journey with him. Talk to us about some of the features that are built into here that you really love. I love the meters being on here. I love the multiple inputs. But what are some of the things that you really enjoy?
Well, one of the things is when you do solo in place, these turn blue.
Okay.
Okay, so if these are cut, they're purple. When you come out, they're red, and they're muted, so you know. Okay, so that's kind of an informational thing.
Yes.
You've got solo, you got PFL, you got AFL, but with this section, this is a stereo module. We incorporated a DAW loop. So the DAW loop, when you press this pot and this panner and these buses, now you're monitoring.
Okay.
And this is now recording with the fader.
Awesome.
So you can hit fader flip, and now this is recording, and this is your mix. So if you're doing a mix right now, you can set the mix up, and when you disengage all these, okay, now you're back to where you were.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So you can really set this up so that you're using this to send to your DAWs, and then you're bringing your monitor back up here and getting a mix ready to go right from
just
tracking.
like inline, okay, but we call it DAW loop because everybody thinks we invented it. So then you got 3 inputs.
Yes.
And they can all be used at the same time. So you can sum with just this, you can sum 24 channels.
Yes, and this is one of my favorite features because, in my studio, I've envisioned getting a fix in there and, setting up my whole live room. So 24 channels with my drums and everything, and then setting up my control room with all my synthesizers that live in there on input 2.
And then your DAW.
Yep. Is there a easy way to flip between all input 1s, all input 2s?
On the master section, you have a button that does this.
Yep.
He does that, or you can clear it. So you can set it all up from the master section.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so can you get a master section that's this small?
Oh no, you get that's in the whole thing,
Yes.
The master module. But the master module also has a blend for all the inserts. So all the stereo buses, you have a blend control.
Yes.
Same with each channel has a blend.
Okay, amazing.
All right.
And tell us a little bit about this. This is so you could use parallel processing with your inserts on every channel, right?
So if you got like right here, if I take this and now I can do this. Now it's the EQ, now it's the drive signal, so I can blend it. But it's great with a compressor.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then you've got the TQ, which is a tilt EQ.
Yes.
On every channel. Then you got a high and a low pass sweep filter.
Very powerful.
And then you got
That's awesome.
so that's on every track. So then you've got 2 mono sends and a stereo send that goes to 3 buses. Now you can track with these, or you can use it for Q-Mix or whatever. But if you don't have these selected and you hit the external input, the external in feeds the pot, and that feeds the fader. So you can send to an effect and bring it back the same channel.
Really?
So every channel really has 4 inputs and not 3.
The 3 and then the external input.
Yeah.
And can you have the external input and any of these inputs coming together at the same time?
At the same time.
So this is, every channel is almost a 4-channel mixer as well.
And then if you select one of the buses, now the external input now feeds the level and the panner to that bus.
Yes.
So you can set up a separate, you can have a whole separate mixer on the top of this.
Okay, so when I'm looking at this, you know what this is reminding me of a little bit in a roundabout way is the 5 and 6 inputs on my Legacy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gee, I wonder who came up with that idea.
I think a pretty smart guy.
So, and then we've got the headphone amp.
Okay.
So if you put these on. Now you can hear me talking.
Yes.
We have a talkback mic.
Okay.
And a level control.
Amazing.
Now, if you're in the control room and you're collaborating,
yes,
you don't have to take your headphone off to say, hey, remember this part, because it has a foot switch. And you put it in the middle, and so if you want to talk, you can do that. If you're a background singer, you plug your headphone feed into this, you plug your background singers into here, they can set their own level, but they can all hear each other, and they don't have to do this.
Amazing.
Okay, then we have the same thing on a larger scale for Q-Mixer. The private Q is a system that was really, really good.
Yes.
But they don't make them anymore, and if you unplug them incorrectly, they blow up.
Yes, you got to turn the power off before you do that, or they'll die.
They'll fry. So what happens if you've got 15 of them? Now you got 14 of them. Now we got 13 of them.
Understood.
Now what are we going to do? So these right here do the same thing, but this has fader, panner, and a TQ on each channel.
Oh, you put the TQ from the desk right into there. That is really cool. So if someone wants to be able to hear, high end cut through, or something's too scratchy, they can just
turn it
roll.
Then it also has the same mic feature, but with a button.
Okay.
And it also has a 2-to-1 compressor on it, so it's more like in the air tonight kind of sound. Okay.
Amazing.
But not as drastic. Now you can loop each unit through, and if I press this button, I can talk to the control room.
So you can use the More Me with the collaborator then, I'm assuming?
You can do whatever. You can come out of here and go into here and feed 4 vocalists, and they can set up their mix here.
Amazing.
Or you set this next to the drummer. You know how you sit, can I have more reverb in the snare? Can I have this, the other? All he's got to do is turn this up.
Yep.
And now it's drummer perspective drum sound.
So can I record that listen mic compressor?
Yes.
So you thought of everything.
Yes.
Great job.
Yeah.
So when are these coming out? When are
These
they?
are out.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And what does a system like this run?
This is going to be $5.99, and these are I think $13.99. But you get. But wait, there's more.
Okay, tell me about it.
You got a drink stand for one side and a headphone holder for the other.
Okay.
And it's got a hole in it, so instead of dropping the cable on the ground, you can just stick it in the hole.
Amazing.
It doesn't get walked on.
And I'm assuming that these can just attach to the bottom of a mic stand?
There's a hole in the bottom for either a camera, quarter 20 camera boot, or we have adapters that you get that have a mic stand adapter.
Amazing.
We recommend the camera stands just because they have a lower profile and a wider base.
Okay.
They're a lot more stable.
Understood.
And they also have the boot, you can just clip them off.
Yes.
But that's, so on the bottom of it, you can see the...
Amazing.
And then you've got on the back, this is a Ethercon adapter.
Okay.
So you've got 1 through 8, 9 through 12, and that's multed.
Yes.
But it also comes out of the bottom.
Okay.
So the cables can go straight down.
So they don't have to hang off.
Yeah.
And that's a problem with some of those old systems where, if you leave them there for 30 years, they're
And they're going to pull, and it's a lot of weight.
Yes.
Then you've got these 4 inputs mimic these.
Yep.
And then you got your mic out and your mic through.
That's amazing.
And then you've got a iPhone input for here.
Okay.
And then you've got a talkback foot switch.
Amazing.
And then this is for EtherCon.
Okay.
So you can use those 4-channel EtherCon cables.
Yes.
So if you don't want to use D-subs, you can wire your studio for EtherCon and just mult it with this.
Well, and I think that this is very, very forward thinking, because if I wanted to rip out my shitty digital hearback system,
You don't have to do anything.
I don't have to do anything.
Right.
I like
Only
it.
one of them has to be grounded. The rest of them, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
So.
And then I also will say this is a nice touch. Being able to go in and just being able to touch these things up right from there without having to pull that thing open is nice.
So that's the way they're.
Great job. So before I go though, I gotta ask, how much is the EQ gonna be?
I think we're probably going to target it around $599.
Oh, really? That is one great price, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And how long do you think that you spent working on that?
Well, I've been thinking about it for a long time, but I finally busted ass on it and got it ready for the show. So it took about 2 months of just straight work.
Okay. Well, this is definitely getting added to my rack. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a nice EQ. It really is. And the circuit is such that it's like, you see all those EQ circuits they have. The signal comes in here and goes through everything and goes out here. Well, the signal comes in through 4 amps and goes out.
Yes.
And then these sum into the amp, so they either sum or cut.
Okay.
Okay, so if they're in the middle, they're not adding or subtracting anything.
So they're just going straight through and
out of the
bypassing.
circuit.
Yep. That's very, very interesting. And I know everybody's getting less weird about it as time goes on, but are there discrete amplifiers in here, or what
No.
do you use? Yep.
But I have the output stage. I have a really cool output stage, but if you want to put a discrete op amp in there, you can, but it has a transformer, and the transformer is a steel nickel mix.
Oh, so there is a transformer in
Yeah,
here.
there's a transformer, yeah.
Amazing. And did you do that because of interfacing, or did you do that because you liked how it sounded?
I like the sound. I mean, it's a beefy sound. It gives it a little bit of roundness, but when you mix the nickel with the steel, you don't get all the distortion from the steel. You can kind of do this with it.
Yep.
And it's interesting because it's the transformer laminations are this wide, and there's 4 nickel ones in the middle.
Okay.
And it just relaxes the low end distortion a little bit.
Awesome. And how long have you been working on that transformer?
That's something that I did, I don't know, probably 10 years ago.
Okay.
Just experimenting with it, and I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to use that.
Put that in the back pocket for later today. Well, I'm very excited to hear this, and when Ken is ready to go with the whole thing, I'm going out to Chicago. Is one of my first things I'm going to do.
Yeah, he's got the last 8 modules, and he's got ready. He's got a project Friday.
Yep.
So
we were just talking about
that's the immersive module right here.
Yes.
So this does left, center, right, and then does front to rear panning.
Okay.
And then it has a side position that allows you to do this panner for the side speakers. Then that's your rear panner.
Amazing.
Then you got the same tone section, the same input and blend, and then up here you have an LFE pot.
Okay.
You have a stereo mix, and what's cool about this is that you can do your immersive mix, either 5.1 or 7.1.4, and then in your monitor controller you just flip the stereo. Now you're monitoring the stereo mix that's off of this panner.
Amazing.
So there's a subset below that has the stereo panner on it. So if you're panned to the rear, you can use this to pan to the front and use this as your stereo mix. So you can switch between immersive and stereo.
So if you just set these up at Unity, your mix will follow your
mixing.
face.
And so you print your stereo, or you print your immersive mix, you go back, you make a few adjustments, you print that, you're done. Okay, and then you've got your floor to ceiling panner, and then you've got quad in the ceiling.
Amazing.
And this mixer also has an external input.
Okay, so 4 inputs just like the other one.
So this right now gives you 4 panners that you can use for a headphone mix or whatever.
Yep.
So it's really nice.
So this is a immersive module,
Yeah.
and then you were saying that these are stereo modules?
These right here are, they're mono. They just have stereo output.
Ah,
So
okay.
this is a left-right module, and this is a 7.1.4 module.
Immersive. Are you planning on making a true stereo module?
No.
Okay.
The thing is, I've only got 3. Well, I got 4 inputs, but it would have to be is it going to be just 1 input?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to direct out. Is it which channel gets that?
Understood. Understood. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I'm very, very excited to see how this progresses with DCA. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's going to be a blast.
Yeah.